Okay, I'm just testing things out here and make sure all is working. Good morning to all of you folks out there. If you happen to be up this time of morning, I'm sure you're not, but if you happen to be up, then I'm up with you, okay? Because we're wasting daylight. Time to go to work, time to get the job, you're not retired yet. Good morning. It is, believe it or not, if you can believe this, it is the 17th day of July 2025. It is a day like all the other days. It has never been, and it won't ever be again. And once it's gone, well, you don't get a do-over. You don't get it back. You don't get to summon it from the past. You don't get to come back and undo all the things that you do this day. And you certainly don't get a chance to come back and do what you should have done this day that you don't. So whatever it is that you do with this day, July the 17th, 2025, make sure that if tomorrow should be, you'll be proud of what you have done on this day. Benjamin Elijah May said, whatever we do in life, we should do it so well, no man living, no man dead, no man yet to be born can do it any better. And I say that is the standard by which you live your life, you'll always be successful. Oh, you'll fail at a thing or two, we all do. But you'll never be a failure until you quit. We say give out if you must, rest if you can, but you never, ever give up. You never quit. Because quitters will never win. And winners, they may lose every once in a while, but they don't ever quit. My mother used to say that all you have to do is to move forward is put one foot in front of the other and keep moving. Don't ever give up. Because quitters don't win. And winners, they don't quit. Next up, it is our daily bread. A word from on high, something that will change your perspective or give you a new one. But either way, it is good for the soul. Okay? So you guys hang loose there. We'll be back in a little bit. So hang loose. Our daily bread is coming up next. Well, we gotta hear the word. I mean, no matter what happens to us this day, this is a good part of it. We'll be back.
God's forgiveness defies our labels of failure or pride.
Our daily bread.
Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by David McCaslin. David writes, "A church in my city has a unique welcome card that captures the love and grace of God for everyone. It says, quote, if you are a saint, sinner, loser, winner, followed by many other terms used to describe struggling people, alcoholic, hypocrite, cheater, fearful, misfit, you are welcome here. One of the pastors told me we read that card aloud together in our worship services every Sunday. How often we accept labels and allow them to define who we are, and how easily we assign them to others. But God's grace defies labels because it is rooted in His love, not in our self-perception. Whether we see ourselves as wonderful or terrible, capable or helpless, we can receive eternal life as a gift from Him. The Apostle Paul reminded the followers of Jesus in Rome, in Romans 5:6, that at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. David concludes, the Lord does not require us to change by our own power. Instead, He invites us to come as we are to find hope, healing, and freedom in Him. Romans 5:8 says, but God demonstrates His own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. The Lord is ready and willing to receive us just as we are.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Romans chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into this grace in which we now stand. And we boast in the hope of the glory of God. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, who has been given to us. You see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Since we have now been justified by his blood, how much more shall we be saved from God's wrath through him? For if, while we were God's enemies, we were reconciled to him through the death of his Son, how much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through his life? Not only is this so, but we also boast in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now received reconciliation. That's today's scripture reading from Romans chapter 5, verses 1 through 11.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your amazing love to us in Jesus. May we accept that gift by grace through faith, Lord. In his name we pray. Amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
All right, you had the word of the day, and that's good. And if you have the word of the day, you have hope. And with hope, you have the strength to fight another day. All right, then. Good morning to you. Hope everything is okay with all you guys out there. That's the most important part of the show right there. That right there. See, I can say a lot of things, but the things I say don't really hold a lot of weight. But when you hear the words from on high, well, that's stuff that can change your life. I'm just telling you. Anyway, it is time to wake everybody up right now. The general's going to do it. This is actually Brigadier General Tia Young. She's one of the few general officers in 82nd Airborne at the time who would actually run with the fellas down the road, do PT in the morning, and she would actually call cadence for them. And I'm telling you, did a pretty good job for a female. I mean, but then again, I always did say ma'am. So we'll be back right at the end. We got it's Thursday, which is like my Friday. We're actually going to play you a thing, and it's called 6 Words, and I think it'll change you a little bit. I hope it does anyway. So just hang loose, and we'll be back in a minute. General, where are you? Hello, where you at?
Course.
There she is.
Let's
do it.
Here we go, all the way, gotta be rough and tough, airborne, every day, we run to the sun, no sweat, not yet, down in the mess hall on my knees, we got nothing to eat but a can of beans, the bread was molded and the meat was bad. Well, you know darn well that you can't eat that. You know darn well
Come on now.
that you can't eat
Let's
that.
get moving. You're wasting daylight.
Here we go, all the way, gotta be rough and tough, airborne, all the way. When I was young, I always wanted to be in the 82nd Airborne, knees in the breeze. Now that I'm here, I'm gonna do it right. Jump from an aircraft while in flight. All the way airborne, all the way driving on. All the way airborne, all the way driving on. Early one morning in the drizzling rain, when I picked up my parachute and boarded the plane. Jump master said 1 minute to go. Green light lead with a chilling glow. All the way airborne, all the way driving on. All the way airborne, all the way driving on. Here we go, all the way. Gotta be rough and tough, airborne.
All the way. Good morning. Oh, let me make sure I stop that again. The general's already had her. She's already had her say, so we don't need to do that now. Next up, you're gonna like this. This is something that'll, as you get up this morning, and as you traverse your day and look at your list of things to do, one of the things that we as human beings have a tendency. Why do you play the same? Did I play this? Did I play the same? I got a bunch of them. Oh well, maybe I messed them up. Okay. Of course I got new ones. Come on, man. Come on, Big C. Come on, bro. I must have accidentally hit the wrong one. My bad. But now, Big C, let me ask you a question. Why do we go to church and listen to the same words we heard years ago? I mean, if you've been going to church a long time, you just about heard everything in the Bible. So why do we keep playing it? Okay, I hear you. All right. So I want you to put that in your peace pipe and smoke that for a second. I mean, how many times is too much to hear great advice? Okay, okay. So I got you on that one. I got you. I got you on that one. Okay, so let's just leave that alone. But I will have new stuff next week. I do have a couple. I got about 5 years worth of those things. So we'll get to them as we traverse the highways and byway. Okay. So next up, this next piece, and then we'll get on to the conversation of today. Because you ask people, what? Now, see what Big C said. Right? He said, Kevin, I have a serious question. So I'm thinking, whoa, I like serious questions. Why do you play the same Daily Bread over and over and over and over again? That you don't have any new ones? I got plenty of them. See, they sound the same because good advice from on high sounds the same because there's always good advice. But I do have plenty of them. Now I may have made a couple of mistakes this week and played the same one because maybe I liked it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'll next week, if I live and nothing happens, I'll make sure that we tune those things up and put them in the rotation. Okay, I'm just saying. I'll take care of it because you're one of my favorite. You're one of my favorite clients. And I call you guys. You guys are my customers, and I always try to do what my customers ask me to do. Okay, maybe not all of it, but most of the time. Okay, so just hang loose. Somebody actually called me yesterday, sent me a word yesterday about getting another radio job. But however, it's not in Alabama. So I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute here before I make any decisions because I kind of like it around here. So I may have to turn them down. I may. I don't know. Depends on what the ink is on the check. That's what it depends on. How much paper is on the table. Anyway, so next up, it is called The Power of Words, and I think you'll enjoy this. And then we'll get down to some serious conversation here. Okay, the power of words. Okay, so I want you guys to, and I want you to listen to this good. Okay, I want you to listen to this good because it really is an outstanding piece of advice for us. Because most of us, in the Bible says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and trust me, it does. And we see many instances of that throughout history. People going to war over words. People getting their feelings hurt over words. People committing suicide over words. Let us be mindful of the things we say to one another. Okay, let us be mindful of that. Me too, because I'm kind of tough on that sometimes. So the power of words. That's what's coming up next, and we'll be back. Actually, I meant to play 6 words, but this one I do.
Just about everybody that you encounter is often going through something that may not be obvious from the outside, but they're facing a battle on the inside. Everyone that you come across is facing some type of battle in their life. I hope that you'll embrace that you have no idea what God might do through a single word of encouragement. You have no idea how God could use you to offer someone hope, to build someone's faith. And I don't know about you, but there is so much negativity in the world today. I can't open up my social media feed without being discouraged. I can't read a news app without just being depressed. I can't talk to people with all the heartbreaking news in the world without being disheartened. And so many people in a polarized world can be so incredibly critical, so undeniably hateful. I think it's time that we as believers step in and lift others, bring words of hope, bring words of encouragement, because the words we speak are filled with power. Our words can build up, or our words can crush. In fact, Scripture says in Proverbs 18:21 that the tongue has the power of life and of death. I want my words to build your faith, to strengthen your confidence, to believe that God is for you, that He's with you, that He'll never leave you, He'll never forsake you. He's working in you. If it were up to me, I would encourage you and build your faith, because everyone you see is facing a battle that you don't know anything about.
The Scripture tells us that life and death is in the power of the tongue. That makes total sense. Because if you'll just stop for 1 second and look back over your life, I guarantee you that every one of us in this room have got at least one instant in our life where we know we have seen the power of the tongue produce death. Death to relationships, death to jobs. How many people you know have been fired because of their mouth? How many marriages have been destroyed because of mouths, because of the tongue? So let's use our words to benefit us. Let's use our words to make the world around us better. Let's use our words to make our relationships better. Let's use our words to bring life to our marriage, life to our kids, life to our jobs, life to our minds, life to our families. Speak words that edify. Speak words that build up. Speak words that embrace. Speak words that forgive. Speak words that love. Speak words that heal.
Words are full of power. They can heal, they can wound, they can minister death, they can minister life, they can encourage, they can discourage, they can build up, they can tear down. People get divorces over words. Families are split apart over words. People lose jobs over words. People have insecurity and a poor self-image over words that have been spoken to them. Words are containers for power, and we need to choose our words very carefully, and it's time for us to step up to the plate and be accountable for the words that we allow to come out of our mouth. No man can tame the tongue. We need God's help. So you want to pray every day for God to help you with your mouth.
We are constantly speaking words, and even a few can have the power of life and death. Now, some of you know this because you grew up in homes where a few words spoken to you had power of life or had power of death. And you can remember those words, just 3 or 4 words that maybe a parent, a teacher, a sibling, a friend, a coach said to you, and it either brought some life or brought some death into your world.
One of the best things you can do for your relationships, if you're married, if you have children, if you're a leader or an influencer at work, if you have someone in your small group, is to bless them with words of encouragement. Set the blessing free. You encourage what you want to see, and you typically see more of it. If it were up to me, I would be so encouraging. If you think something good, say it. If you think something good, say it. In a world full of so much criticism, so much hatred, so much disappointment, so much negativity, as people of the light, we'll lift up others around us.
So Genesis 1, the Bible tells us the earth was formless, it was empty, or it was void. And it says that darkness was over the surface of the deep. So there was just nothing. There was nothing. And then verse 3, here's what we read. And God said. Maybe your translation says, and God spoke. So God speaks into the nothingness. He speaks into the darkness, and he says, let there be light, and there was light. And so at the very beginning of time, God creates the universe, but how does he do it? What tool does he use? He uses words. He speaks the universe into existence. God says, and it is. And we see this throughout the creation account. God said, and it happened. He speaks it. And so God uses words to bring about life and light. God uses words to build up, to create. He speaks into darkness, and he says light, and lights come on. And so we see from the beginning the power of words, that words are the tool that God uses. Flip over a couple chapters, Genesis 3. And in this passage, we see that words have the power of death. And so this is the passage of Scripture where sin enters into the world. God has created man and woman. He said that it's very good. Now Satan comes on the scene in the form of a serpent. And verse 1 tells us that the serpent was clever, more clever, in fact, than any wild animal God had made. And what did he do? He spoke. He spoke to the woman, and he said, do I understand that God told you? So he speaks, and when he speaks, he attacks what God has said. And do I understand that God told you not to eat from any tree in the garden? And then he would go on to say, hey, God didn't really say that. And so what does the enemy use? The enemy uses words to bring death to where there was life, and to bring darkness to where there was light. Now here's what's interesting, of course, is that the serpent's words were not true, but that didn't keep his words from having power, right? Like the moment Adam and Eve speak the words in their own hearts, the moment they believe those words, they give life to them. They empower them. So God speaks, the serpent speaks, and we just see from the beginning there's the power of life, there's the power of death. God speaks and he creates and he builds and he blesses. The enemy speaks and he tempts and he accuses, he deceives, he destroys. It's hardwired into the universe, the power of words. Am I speaking life, or am I speaking death into the world around me?
You know, it's so amazing, the power of this tongue. In James chapter 3, he illustrates it this way. In verse 3, he says, when you put bits into the mouth of horses to make them obey, you can turn the whole animal. He goes, or take ships as an example. Though they're large and driven by strong winds, they're steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole person. It sets the whole course of his life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. My tongue right now could be set on fire by hell. What does he mean by that? That Satan himself could influence what I have to say. The words coming out of his mouth could come straight from hell itself. And anytime I use this mouth to tear someone down, guess who's in control of my tongue at that minute? Hell. Anytime I use this mouth to do anything but bring glory to God, who's using this? When I'm bringing glory to myself, who's using this? It's Satan. He's got control of it. You and I, we have the ability to have our tongue set on fire by hell, to say things that will actually pull people away from God. It's a dangerous thing. That's what this passage is about. It's like, do you know how powerful you are? And in verse 9, he says, and with this tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who've been made in God's likeness. And what this verse says is, can't praise God with your mouth and also curse men, and then he says, who have been made in the likeness of God. And what this passage is saying is, do I ever have a right to curse anyone that was made in the image of God? And I don't want God seeing me on this earth cursing someone that he loves. It's about love. You don't have a right to hate anyone that God created. and use this mouth to curse anyone that God wants saved. I mean, really, the heart of God is Romans 5:8, of that while we were sinners, that God demonstrated his love for us and Christ died for us. Not because we were so lovable, but he looks down and goes, wow, these people are rebelling against me, but I love them, and I love them so much that I'm going to pursue them. It's not about God looking down and going, man, look at them rebel against me, I'm going to curse them. No, instead, I'm going to send my son down and show love to them and save them. And in the same way, as a reflection of Jesus Christ, I'm supposed to look at those who are antagonistic toward God and love them and pursue them and save them and pray for them, but not curse them. He uses this idea of, he says, out of the same mouth, verse 10, out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers, this should not be. He goes, you can't use this mouth to praise and curse. Understand, when we became a believer, we said, God, here's my tongue. And then every once in a while, I'll go, wait, God, let me get my tongue back for a second. Let me use it. I'm going to let Satan borrow it for a little bit. Here, Satan, go ahead. Okay, use my tongue now. Let me gossip. Let me say some things that aren't true. Let me slander some people. Let me put some people down. Let me, do this, do that with this tongue. And then we come back, okay, God, I'm done with it. You can have it back. You just gave that to Satan to borrow for a little bit, and then you give it back to me and you take it back. He goes, you can't let us both use his tongue. Man, whose is it? Out of the same mouth, you can't have blessing and cursing. Why do blessing and cursing come out of your mouth? Because there's blessing and cursing in your heart. You need a new heart. You need God to change who you are. This message is not about biting your tongue and offering lip service. I need you to change my heart. I don't want anything to come out of this mouth that doesn't honor you. This tongue was created by God. God made it. Colossians 1:16 says all things were created by him and for him. Why did God make this tongue? To praise him.
I really believe that we open doors for the enemy through complaining. God gave us our mouth for one reason, and that's to glorify him. You have a mouth to glorify God. Amen? And that's what we need to use it for. I think so often we talk more about what the enemy's doing than we do about what God's doing. We don't need to talk fear. We need to talk faith. Why? Because our words are powerful. Our words are containers for power. Your words can carry your faith to the kingdom of God and release angels to help you, or your words can carry your fear to the kingdom of darkness and just release more trouble in your life.
And what would happen if certain words that we spoke to people, they would just show up on that person, and they were just always there? We would be careful with the words we spoke because we wouldn't take them lightly. We would understand the impact that they had, that they don't just go away. And the Bible helps us understand that our words have that kind of power. And most of us could probably give some examples of words that were spoken to us that have been tattooed on us in some way or another. And they were spoken perhaps impulsively or carelessly or thoughtlessly. The Bible says, Proverbs 12:18, the words of the reckless, the words of the thoughtless, the words of the careless pierce like swords. They do more damage than we realize, but the tongue of the wise does what? It brings healing. And so, with our mouth, we can destroy, or with our mouth, we can heal, and we can bring life. That through Jesus, he can speak life where there is death. He can speak light into darkness. His word is more powerful than any other word. Any word that you've said to yourself, any word that's been spoken to you, his word overrides that. And so we listen to his word, and we speak his word, and then we believe his word, and then we watch and we see what God does.
Just about everybody that you encounter is often going through something that may not be obvious from the outside.
Okay, we got that. The power of words. I was going to play it again, but I don't want Big C to get on my case. Said you're playing the same thing. Actually, it doesn't hurt to hear the same thing sometimes because which is why we go to church, I guess, because you hear the same words you've been hearing for like 50, 60, 70 years. And sometimes you hear the same words, but they don't affect you the same way. I'm just saying. So let's Big C. Let's chill out on that for a second, okay? I mean, we go to church every Sunday, and guess what happens? Guess what happens? We hear the same words we already heard. We heard our whole life, okay? Matter of fact, we only got so many words we can use anyway. So let's not be complaining, okay? Just remember. Now remember the words. Now that's what's important. Do you remember the words? Anyway, good morning to everyone. The time on the wall says it is, what is the time on the wall says? It is 7:34, as a matter of fact. So let me look at Elkin's weather report for this day. We'll see what it's going to be. Okay, let's see. It's in Montgomery, Indiana. Well, Montgomery, Alabama. See what I'm thinking about? I don't know why I've been thinking about Indiana lately. I'm going back to Indiana. Okay, never mind. I don't know. It's still too cold up there, though. And right now, if you are getting up right now, it is 78 degrees outside. Feels like 80. However, today we are going to have scattered thunderstorms during the morning, a steady rain arriving this afternoon around high 87 degrees, wind southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and a chance for rain today, 80%. So that pretty much means it's probably going to rain. Tonight, a low of 74, 15% chance of precipitation. I guess that precipitation, as long as it's rain, we good. Partly cloudy. And a low of 74, wind southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And on tomorrow, there's a 70% chance of rain. Partly cloudy in the morning, increasing clouds and periods of showers later in the day. Okay, high around 88 degrees, wind south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And again, chance of rain on tomorrow is 70%. So we can pretty much say it's going to rain. We can pretty much say that, right? Right now, it's 78% chance it's going to rain now. Pollen is low because I guess it's not spring. Air quality is good. Does anybody really care? I don't know. UV index is an extreme 11. That's because the sun's out. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Can you get a UV index if you, in fact, if the sun's not out? I guess you can because the sun is still up there in the sky someplace, giving us all this great light. So I'm gonna take it for granted that the UV index can change even if the sun's not quite out right now. Okay, I'm just saying. And I hope our daily bread worked at the power of words. So as we traverse the highways and the byways today of our lives, remember that because we all can say some things that that suck sometimes. Connie Francis died today at 87 years old. I remember the name. I don't remember her, but I remember that name. Man, back in the day. Connie Francis. Lessons of life today, simple one. Failure is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. What is the best way to learn something is to fail at it and now you know what not to do the next time you do it. So failure is not and also failure is a way to show people that you had the guts to try it. Okay. So there are a lot of lessons in failure that are positive, but don't keep failing. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can find this for you guys because this really irks me. Now I posted this thing on Facebook yesterday, and I'm sorry, but I just can't do it. This is a guy who wants to be a Marine. Okay, he wants to be a Marine, and so he just quits. Now there are a lot of things I can handle. I can handle failure because failure teaches us things about we had the guts to try it. But this guy right here, oh man, he just he makes the Marine Corps look mighty bad. But I'm gonna let you see this. Okay, we're gonna share the screen. I'm gonna let you see it. This guy right here just really upsets me. As a matter of fact, he really does. Okay, he just upsets me big time. Okay. And the old Sarge is there, is telling them, what to do. And he just quit. Okay. Let me see. Well, here he is right here. See if you can believe this guy did this. He don't belong in my military. He needs to go home.
Walk.
Sergeant, what do I do?
You walk.
Walk, Sergeant.
There you go. You're walking. Now walk. Drag your pack. Walk. Walk. Left, right.
He didn't walk.
Walk.
Sergeant, what do I do?
You walk.
You walk.
Walk, Sergeant.
There you go. You're walking. Now walk. Drag your pack.
Now watch what he does.
Walk. Walk. Left, right. Walk.
The Marines must be getting desperate.
You walk.
Walk, Sergeant.
There you go. You're walking. Now walk.
Okay.
Drag your pack.
Okay. But somebody. Okay. I just wanted to share that with you because I
walk.
I just
walk.
wanted it to be
left, right.
Left, right. What do I do?
Walk.
Okay. But he's in Marine Corps basic training though.
You walk.
Okay. And I don't mean to be hard.
There you go. You're walking. Now walk.
Yeah. I don't mean
drag your pack.
I don't really mean to be hard on the young man, but
walk. Walk.
This looks bad.
Left, right.
Yeah. This looks bad. Yeah.
Walk.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyway. So. Okay. I got you. Okay. We're walking now. We know this Marine drill sergeant. Wait a minute. He has said he was on camera. That is the treatment that we would give you if everybody's got a rucksack on and you walking down and you marching and you just quit. I mean, no. That ain't the kind of treatment that he'd get. But that's okay. Now somebody told me, what if Z does that? I would disown him. Eh? You can't quit like that. I mean, because when you quit like that, you don't just let yourself down. You let all your other folks down. I mean, it sucks. But anyway, I never quit. Right? I never quit. Even when I was hurting, feeling bad, going through the swamps or whatever we did, you can't quit because quitting becomes a habit. Okay, I just thought that. So the Marine Corps they're going to do a lot of things to vindicate themselves on this one. I mean, that was just really sad. So evidently, the drill sergeant didn't really motivate him enough to because he was still standing up, which means he still had some strength left, so he could have kept on walking. Now that rucksack get heavy. I ain't gonna lie to you, it get heavy. Depending on what's in it, it gets heavy. I can feel that. I understand that, but it ain't like I ain't carried one. I can't carry one. 70 pounds, as a matter of fact, and a parachute, and a gun, and boots, and winter gear out of an aircraft. So I know what it feels like, baby. I know what it feels like. But you don't quit. Yeah, don't quit like this guy did. Matter of fact, he should be on the way home this morning. They should send him back home right now. Put a scarlet thing on his forehead says quitter. You don't quit. Okay, I can't stand people who just quit. All right. Now I'm not getting fired, but I don't want to quit. You know what I mean? Anyway, so much for that. I just thought that was an interesting. I thought that was an interesting thing that the young man did. He just sat there. He just gave out of steam. He just gave out of steam. What do you want me to do, sir? Yeah, it's called walking. Yeah, walking. Now he ain't running with it. He walked, but it's okay. That's gonna leave that alone. Anyway, good morning to you. Hopefully this weekend we will have a great time, and we won't have the same occurrences this weekend that we had last weekend in the city of Montgomery. Mr. Gray Bowles, hopefully we'll keep an eye on things around this town and make sure that we can travel, at least for the most part, safely throughout Montgomery. We hope that is. We hope so. We don't need we don't need a recurrence of what happened this past weekend. So I'm going. Of course, tonight the day is only Thursday, so it's not Friday. Who knows? Here is an assessment from one where I got something here. We got something here. Representative Phil Insler will not seek re-election. Now he's a Democrat, but he's one of the good Democrats. I like Insler. But he's quitting, which now I live in his district. I may have to run for that seat. I may have to run for that seat. I may have to. Yeah, I may have to do that. I may have to. Yeah, maybe I can get him to give me a donation or something like that. Because see, they need somebody like me down, okay, in politics. Okay, I really, like the young folks say, straight no chaser. Okay, because as I look at our representatives, all we can do most of the time is say, who do they work for? Because they're not really working for us. Because we would have a lottery by now. If our representatives were working for us, we would have a lottery right now. Now, I don't want gambling, but we're spending, people who want to play the lottery will play the lottery, even if they got to go to Tennessee, Georgia, right across the line, and just get a ticket. So we're giving all that. We're always whining in this state about we need more money, but we turning around and letting other states around us collect all kind of Alabama money because I guess the preachers or the Indians or somebody has got them by the gonads because we want most people now. Is there anybody out who don't want a lottery? I'm not talking about gambling. I'm not talking about the casinos. I'm just talking about a lottery. A lottery where you, and I ain't talking about the little cheap little tickets you get from the local mom and pop stores. I mean, a lottery. What doesn't everybody want a chance of maybe winning? A friend of mine a couple of days ago won about $11,000 at the place out there on Dozier Road, I think. She had the jackpot, which is good. And I realized that doesn't happen very much. I know it don't happen very much. But she did. Of course, I had to ask her, how much money had you put in there? No, Insler's not seeking re-election. He's, as a matter of fact, I know his father passed away, and he said that's been on his mind, and I can understand that. He's probably going to go back to New York, where he's from, where his people are from. But he did say, and I like what he said, he did say he has this thing where he takes kids from the high schools here, because he used to be a teacher in high school here. He takes them to Washington, D.C., free of charge, out of his own money. Airplane tickets, accommodations, and all kinds of things, and he pays for that. He's been doing it for years, and and he's a lawyer, but that's still his money though. But he doesn't. He's not going to seek re-election, and he said that it's just his father passing away has sort of affected him a little bit, and he's the only Democrat I actually like. Well, most of them anyway. I mean, most of them I do like him. I think he's a swell guy. Now he belongs to that odious party called the Democratic Party. But I'm beginning to really think, and this is me. I'm beginning to really, really, really think that there's not a whole lot of difference between either one. You can't hear anything. Well, you got to turn up your sound, my friend. You got to turn up the sound, because I know we have we got people hearing. You couldn't hear that part with the guy who was I know why you couldn't hear it, man. Now, okay, never mind. Well, I'll play it again later, next hour. Yeah, about this guy, this Marine guy here who just decided to quit while he was walking, doing his daily things. Okay, he just walking. He says, say he can hear. Okay. Oh, and listen, you got to turn your sound up sometimes on your computer, and if that's up, then that's cool. I'm just saying, but that was a shame and a disgrace what that Marine did. But did you see the latest conference? Yeah. Listen. I saw. Okay. Here's the chief put out a table full of guns. Like that really means something. It don't. All it means now that these guys going to steal somebody else's gun. We sell we sell guns back to people. We buy guns. I don't like the buyback program. I don't, because I think the buyback program puts a lot of older people in danger of not being able to protect themselves because they sold their gun and now they have no way to protect themselves. And and listen, if I had to buy groceries or have my gun, and at that time I'm kind of hungry because I'm only getting Social Security and it ain't very much, and I got to pay rent and all that stuff. I'm telling you, I don't like the buyback program, but that's what they do, because all the guy's going to do is go out and get another gun. Okay, which reminds me of something that I wanted to ask somebody out there. Now, if you are a policeman, you ever been a policeman, maybe you can answer this question. There seems to be a proliferation of people being dragged out of their car because the police, and I don't know about Montgomery, but it looks like over America these days that the police think that they are that they are gods or something. And if you don't get out of the car fast enough for them, they want to break your windows and yank you out of the car. Now, here's my question and I know we got a police officer, a former police officer on this take this morning. What can prompt, what must you, I guess, what gives a policeman the authority to first of all, to cause damage to your car if he tells you to get out? And I need to know this because I don't want to get a butt whooping, but sometimes it may have to happen. They tell you to get out, and if you don't get out of your car fast enough, they have the legal authority to damage your car and pull you out of the car. I just on a traffic stop. I mean, I can understand if you just killed somebody, then okay, maybe. Okay. Now somebody said MPD does not stop anybody anymore. well, I don't know if that to be true, but I don't know. But is this all for YouTube? Or is this all for, I've never seen such a time where the police threaten to yank you out your car. Now, I haven't seen that in Montgomery. But if it happens someplace else in this nation, then sooner or later it gets to Montgomery. Okay? So, sooner or later it gets to Montgomery. Okay? So I'm just saying, do they really have the authority to pull you out of your car because you're not getting out of the car fast enough? And what gives them the right to tell you to get out of your car? Okay. I got people going down the street and you can smell marijuana 10 minutes after they're gone, and I don't see nobody stopping them, telling them to get out of their car. And we know what they're doing. Okay. I'm just asking the question because I need to know, because if the police stop me next time and they tell me to get out of my car, I'm not getting out. No, I'm not. No, I'm not getting out. No, I ain't doing that. No. I'm gonna say right there. And I'm gonna say, well, y'all might open up a can of whoop ass on me or something like that. I'm not getting out the car. I'm not getting out the car. And I'll put up a good fight, but it won't last long because the police always wins. And as well as they should. Policemen cannot afford to lose a battle on the street. They can't. They can't afford that, because when the police, but they also have to be mindful that we don't work for them. They work for us, and it's the only job where your boss, you can arrest your boss or put your boss in jail or put him behind bars because you are the police and you do represent the law. So I don't have a problem with that, but I need to know, is it okay for them to pull you out of your car? I just need to, because they want to. For some reason, I cannot see that being the right thing to do. I just can't. I can't fathom that. And again, we were talking early part of this week about some sort of gun control. And I know people don't like that word, but is there anybody out there with walking around saying, like Mr. Bowling used to say, is there anybody out there with walking around saying that don't believe that we need to do something about the gun violence in America, not just Montgomery? Now, what that looks like, I'm not sure, because I'm not an expert on guns. The only thing I was ever expert on was M16. Uh, so, but is there anybody out there that don't believe? I mean, I know it's important to be able to, the reason why we had these loose gun laws before back in the initial stage of the Constitution is to protect ourselves from an encroaching and tyrannical government. Although I'm with you, I think the government still has some tentacles there where they want to be a little bit tyrannical sometimes. But I don't think we're that bad in America yet where we have to really worry about that. But is there anybody out there who really don't think that we need? And I realize people say, "Well, my guns ain't shot anybody." It is the tool by which people use to bring harm. Okay, it is. So the gun didn't just hop off the table. I agree with you and kill anybody and do. I'm with you, but it is an instrument that has a lot of power, and it is used by a lot of people to do harm. So, is there anybody who don't really think that we need some reasonable? And I think I would be all right with somebody saying, well, maybe if we had a proliferation of people killing people with knives spontaneously, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with knife unless it's in the kitchen. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a thing in the kitchen when you pull your knife. You don't have to worry about that. But there is some cause for alarm in this country right now with the proliferation of so much gun violence in this country. And I don't want to sound like a Democrat. I know guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns, but it is that instrument by which they use to bring about harm to other people. And if there's anybody out who don't, last week, 2 weeks ago, all year long so far, 7 months of this year, and I don't know how many people we've had killed. I think we've had over 50, I believe. I mean, we're on a record-setting pace. I mean, brother got to stay home nowadays because he's scared to go outside. So I don't know. I just think that we need some sort of, and if that means nothing, that everybody who carries one, even openly, has to have ID, so we can identify them, at least know that they are carrying a weapon. Okay, somebody needs to know that you're carrying a weapon. And I don't think ID is a lot to ask for people if they want to carry a weapon in a civilized society. Okay, it never was intended to go the way we're doing it. It never was. It was intended for the militia, because back in those days, anybody 16 to 60 was part of the militia. Even if they didn't want to be, they were part of it, and therefore they needed guns in order to protect their country, just in case the British decided one night after getting up that long boat ride over here to come over and take us back, or take them back to England. Okay, some of them should have went back. Okay. Here we go. See, y'all get me all wrong. You said yesterday you had no problem with illegals bringing in guns into our country. No, I never said that. I said if they are a nation of drug sellers, we're a nation of drug users, and all they're doing is fulfilling what we want. That's what I said. Okay, because nobody has to take drugs. You take drugs because that's what you want to do. And guess what? Ronald Reagan's war on drugs, Biden's war on drugs, Barack Obama's war on drugs. Aren't the drugs still here? Of course they are. The war on drugs has been a war on people's civil rights, where now you can't even, if you go get a certain amount of money out of your own checking account, you get a ding to the IRS, and they wonder what you're doing with the money. Now you can go to the airport with a certain amount of money, and they swear up and down you're going to buy drugs. So the war on drugs has been a war on our civil rights. Okay, it has not been a war. There's no war on drugs. Okay, but I didn't say that. We're a nation of gun users. We are, and we're also a nation of drug addicts. We just, they only sell us what we ask them to get. I mean, they only, I don't, I mean, listen, if I could find somebody out there that's stupid enough to give me $20 for 13 cents worth of grass, I'd give it, I'd sell it to them too. I would. I mean, listen, you cannot pass up that kind of stupidity. Okay, you have to sell it to them. I mean, you just have to do it. You just, I mean, you would be crazy not to. So you go outside. I wonder how many people have bought some real grass. I mean, somebody went in the backyard, cut the grass, put some leaves in it and all that stuff, and smashed it up, dried it out, and put it in a bag and sold it to somebody. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's happened. Now, once they figure that's not what you did, you may need to move someplace else. But other than that, I'm not. And we as Americans, the freest people on earth, for the most part, we used to be, unless we get the Democrats in there for a long time. We still got a few rights, but the freest people in America, and we want to tell everybody else what not to do. I'm just saying we're sort of hypocritical in our message about drugs and all this stuff. I mean, we want to buy them, they want to sell them. I think that's commerce. I think that's commerce. Although I never drank. How many times I gotta tell you guys this? I never even had a beer. Although I did tell my son, if I see 70 years old, I'm gonna have me a glass of that Hennessy. Now I'm hoping that I'm sitting down someplace and I can't be driving, so somebody needs to take the keys and all that stuff, because I don't know what it's like to be drunk. But I'm pretty thinking I'm probably gonna get drunk on that one. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get drunk on it. But that's what I'm gonna do for my 70th birthday. I'm gonna have me some Hennessy. Okay, because it looks good. I don't know if it tastes good or not, but it looks. I think it's Hennessy. I think it's brown. It's in a brown jug, a brown bottle, or something like that. So I'm gonna have me some. If I live and that happen, I'm gonna have me a little taste of liquor before I leave God's green earth. Okay, I don't care about wine. That's like, to me, I look like Kool-Aid. So no sense in. I can get Kool-Aid anytime. Although I never had it unless you got the good stuff. Now I don't know anything. I don't know anything about the rest of that stuff, but I gotta have me some alcohol. Now beer, I've never drank beer. You know why I've never drank beer? Okay, you want the truth? Because it looks like pee. Yeah, it looks like pee in a bottle. And if I want to drink pee in a bottle, I can just go in my own bottle and pee in my own bottle and drink that. I don't need to, because I'm pretty sure out of all these years and after all these beer things, I'm pretty sure somebody done peed in one of them bottles. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But you don't know, because pee don't really have a taste. I tasted some, and it don't really have a taste. And so in the darkness, you really won't know that it's pee anyway. And I hate that. Okay, legal gun owners are rarely involved in the problem. Having said that, I do not know how we stop the illegal gun market and trade. Yeah, I don't either. But we need to do something. Possibly increase the penalty for possession of an unregistered firearm to the point that it becomes a deterrent. Okay, that again, I don't have a problem with that one. I mean, and looking at your icon on your posting here, obviously you're a man that knows how to use a gun, and you probably took one. And protected those rights that people have. I'm fine with that. But you can't tell me, Teddy, that you actually believe that everybody in America needs to walk down the streets of our cities with a gun on their side or a rifle in their hand. You can't. I mean, do you really believe that our founding fathers wanted that? I just it doesn't pass the logic and reason test. It just doesn't. We got a military, we got National Guard, we got Army Reserves, we got policemen carrying guns, we got everybody. We got everybody's carrying a gun around here. So, do you really believe that our founding fathers, old George and them, and Jefferson and Lincoln and all that, do you really believe that they fault that everybody should carry guns. Everybody should carry guns in America. And you're a guy who wore that uniform and protected this nation and those rights. But you cannot tell me that I don't believe. Obviously, something's going wrong. Because even when we have if we have gun confiscation, that means everybody, even the good folks, won't have theirs. So I'm just saying that I'm all for just having to have ID. If you carry a gun, you need to have ID. Okay, and I do think you ought not have the right to just stop people and ask their names because they carry a gun. But if something happens in the community, we need to know that you have been identified as a gun user, but but you use it like you do the seatbelt law. It can't be the primary reason why you are stopped because you're carrying one. I got that part. I don't want to do that. But if there's something going on in the community, in the store, or in any public place, and somebody's shooting, then if you walk around with a gun, I think people need to know who you are. I just think that's a reasonable request. Okay, I don't really care anything about the license to carry a concealed weapon. People have been carrying concealed weapons forever, and they will always, even the people who aren't supposed to carry one is carrying one. Okay, we don't know how many people walk around here carrying guns. We just don't have a clue. But there are plenty of them. There are plenty of people. And so no law is going to make people who want to break the law abide by that law. No one's going to do it. That's why I call them crooks. Okay, that's why they call them lawbreakers, because they're not going to abide by any law. But if we can get the good people to identify themselves voluntarily, then we can spend our time with the bad people who won't. Okay, because I don't want to go around, and I certainly don't want to go around. But I do think you ought to have an ID. If you're going to carry a weapon that's open, because when the police carry open weapons, we know who they are. Okay, we can identify them. They're identified by their uniform most of the time, unless they're a fake policeman. But I just think we need to. If this weekend did not show you that we need some sort of gun control, however you want to call it, that's a bad word. That nobody likes to use that word, gun control. How about gun supervision? How about gun supervision? And again, wait a minute. I don't care about if they got to go to jail for breaking the law. I don't care about that. I mean, they shouldn't have broke the law. Okay. But and he said, if I found and found it, I don't care about the law. I said, the people coming over that fence, okay, if the founding fathers saw what was happening on today's streets, they would say everyone should pack heat. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But because everyone is not trying to take our rights away as citizens of this country. Okay. So my problem again, and the whole immigration thing, I'm still not a fan of the way we're doing it. I just don't. I think the way we're doing it's kind of sucked. Okay, I don't think it doesn't show us in a good light. I'll just put it to you that way. It doesn't show us in a good light. And I know that people voted for Trump for immigration, but I didn't vote for Trump for immigration. I wanted somebody to stop some of from going on, but I don't think I ever imagined seeing people in America hogtied with those plastic strips for just working, just working. And we all know you got to work in order to survive. And again, I just don't like the way it looks. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I just don't like that. I understand it, but that don't mean I kind of like it. It's kind of like when you spank your kids. Everybody who has kids has had to spank their children. But did you like it? Because when it gets to the place you like it, you may not need to do it. Okay, You may not need to spank your kids if doing it doesn't bother you. Okay, I'm just saying. So if we think that people in this country don't care anymore about the death that is being caused by those guns, then we're in trouble. We're in trouble, and so I don't know, but that's just the way I see it. I just don't like. I don't like the way we're doing it. Um, you don't care. I didn't say I didn't care about lawbreakers, but I have no problem with people coming over here, even if they come illegally because they want a better way of life. Okay, I don't. I mean, I used to have a problem against that, but then I got to thinking, well, where else can you get a fair shot if you're willing to put in the work except America? And again, I'm asking the question, why the big deal about it? Why the big deal about illegal aliens? Why the big? It's not land. I can understand if the whole country was the size of Michigan. I can understand that. Well, we just couldn't afford, but we got plenty of land. And when I found out that the whole world's population could fit in one city, if you put them toe to toe, one city, that everybody could fit in one city. So I'm just saying, a big city in Los Angeles anyway. So what's it really about? Are we becoming a prejudiced nation against people because they're from someplace else, not realizing that we all from someplace else? Okay, nobody, even the Indians came from someplace else, and so we always giving them the free money and all that stuff, the right to do things because they're called the indigenous people. Well, there are no indigenous people. Everybody in this world came from someplace else. Nobody started out where they are. Okay, the Indians would walk, traverse different parts of the world till they finally got to America. So they wasn't born here either. So I'm just saying, we I don't know, because Indiana, we did a lot of study on Indians, and they were brutal to one another. They were absolutely brutal. So the brothers got some company because the Indians would put each other to the stakes and all kind of things. Anyway, so much for that. Okay, so how's everybody doing out there this morning? It is what time is it? It is 8:11. So let's move on to something else. I just had to get that. And again, Phil Insler is leaving politics in Alabama. Of course, I care about crooks coming to Alabama, but again, what about the crooks we already got? Anyway, Insler, a Democrat, represents Montgomery's area. He in 2022, Insler became the first Democrat to win the position in 12 years in District 74. I think that's the one I'm 74, 75. So hey, man, that's a job for me right there. Yeah, Insler said he made the decision not to run for re-election after his father died. He said he wants to be closer to his family in his home state of New York. I don't know why you want to go back there, but okay. I took a lot of time with families to think about what's best. It is a very tough decision because I love serving. I love the legislature. I love the district, Insler said. So he's one of the good guys. He is one of the good guys, even though he's a Democrat. He's one of the good guys because we've had many talks over the years, even before he became a legislator. When he was a teacher at our schools, and as far as I know, he was one of the few people that where my mind goes reading something right there. But he one of the few people that took his own money and gave our kids field trips to Washington D.C. every year. And he bought it where he paid for it either with donations or out of his own pocket, and that's pretty cool. So if you had Phil Insler as a teacher back in the day, you got a free trip. Okay, he said he also plans to continue supporting money for the telehealth mental health programs in public schools. He's also a former MPS teacher. He was named Montgomery Advertiser's Community Hero in 2019. Insler said that he does not know of anyone running to succeed him and has no immediate plans to endorse a candidate until he finds out I'm going to run. Then when he finds out I'm going to run, he probably endorse me, even though I'm not a Democrat. He probably will. A sad note this morning. A Mobile, Alabama family was swept away by floodwaters in Kerrville, Texas, with all 3 of their members killed. The flood in Kerr County, Texas has resulted in 134 deaths. The governor's sending somebody down there, though, to help out. Not only the National Guard, but some other people, too. We appreciate it doing that. An 8-year-old from Mountain Brook, Alabama, was among the victims. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey said has deployed additional swift water rescue teams to assist the people in Texas. Rescuers in Texas have completed the search for a missing Mobile couple and their granddaughter, and they were swept away as their cabin in Kerrville. I just don't understand how that happened. I really don't. How does that happen? Does not the Corps of Engineers? I mean, for water's water and it's tough, but how does that? Did you realize we lost? I don't think we lost that many people given to water since the Titanic. At least not in America. Have we ever had that many people die from a flood at one time? We haven't. Not that I can remember. That's something right there that we just never had. 134 people are reported dead, but they are still searching for 101 people. And individuals are still missing. The hardest hit county, Kerr County, reported 107 deaths, with at least 36 of them being children. It is reported that at least 97 people are still missing in the county. And among the victims, of course, is Sarah Marsh, an 8-year-old from Mountain Brook, Alabama. So also want to say good morning to happy birthday to Jerry Blevins. I don't know how old he is, but he was a tanker somewhere in the Army back in the day. And now let's get on to something else that we get that gets people in trouble in Alabama. Recreational marijuana. Should we allow people? Listen, they're already using it. They're already. I mean, I know I'm not the only guy that's on the street pulling up at a red light, and somebody pulls up beside you, pull up beside you, and you see a cloud of smoke, and you smell it when the guy been gone for 5 minutes. You still smell it. So here's what I think we should do. We should treat marijuana the same way we do alcohol. You're not supposed to drink and drive, so you ought not be able to smoke and drive either. Okay? If it didn't do anything for you, you wouldn't be smoking it. Okay, unless it's in a pill form and you're doing it for depression or whatever. I think it helps you with your appetite and things of that nature right there. But is it time that we say, hey, listen, let's tax it. Let people come out of the dark shadows of Montgomery. Let them sell it recreationally, but you have to have a store. Okay, and it's got to meet certain standards, I think. But we need it. 24 states have legalized recreational marijuana, and Alabama's not one of them, I don't believe. But I think it's time. I think it really is time, because the war on drugs has been a war on all of our rights. But I don't have a problem with it. Again, treat it like alcohol. Okay, treat it like alcohol. Okay, you want to drink it? Have a great time. But you can't bring it to the Biscuits baseball stadium because people may not want to smell it. But if you want to walk down the street with a doobie in your hand, I ain't got no problem with that. Let them smoke it. I mean, who cares? They're gonna smoke it anyway. At least this way we know who's doing it. And again, I think that business owners have a right to test you and see whether or not you are a drug user. It's a drug. I mean, if you get that THC in you, I think you can smoke it though, but just beware of the consequences. Okay, it's just treat it like alcohol. Tax it. Now you can put people in jail for selling it and not getting the tax on it. Okay, that's but not for the marijuana, but for not doing it the right way. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is anybody out there against that? I don't think so. I think everybody. Man, I forgot about my phone thing here. I don't know what I've been thinking about today. Okay, then. So let me. I don't know what I have been thinking about today. My mind has been messed up this morning. Things happen. That storm really got to me. I don't know. Let me see here now. I'm sorry about that, guys. I didn't put the phone up. You don't care about criminals coming into our country? Sure, I do. But I'm more worried about the criminals that are already here. I'm more worried about the criminals that we sort of made. Okay, and we've made some. Okay, we have made some. We made our own criminals. So I'm more worried about those. I don't think people initially are coming here for nefarious reasons. I think most people here are coming here because they want to be part of the family. They want to be part of the family. I ain't mad at it. Okay, they can be part of the family, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're here. Okay, I think I got my phone working. I forgot to put the phone up. 521-2963. If you got something on your mind this morning, you want to disagree with me on anything, go right ahead. But from marijuana to the police dragging people out their car. But now I will, and I got to get a lawyer. I got to get Jerry on here to find out because too often I see these police stop people, and the guy says, well, you have to tell me why you stopped me in order for me to give you my license and all that stuff. Now I don't know if that's true, and I think when you get a license, one of the reasons why you have to have a license to drive on the streets of Alabama or any other state, because there are certain rules of the road that you said that you agreed to adhere to, and one of those rules of the roads that you agree to adhere to is being stopped, to obey the laws of the road, the highway, and things of that nature. So I think that they have a right to just stop you and ask you. I don't really think you have a right not to give it to them. but listen, there are some battles. Okay, there are some battles that you need to fight, and then there's some battles that you don't need to fight. Okay, and fighting with the police on the street, I don't mean physically fighting, but I mean a verbal war between the two of you end up losing all the time. You're just gonna lose. That guy happens to be the popo, okay, and the popo most of the time is within his rights to stop you, okay, if he sees something. Now I will admit to you that again, all you have to be able to articulate. You have to be able to articulate why you stop people. Okay, but that is not up to you to demand that he articulates it right then and there. I'm just saying we got to be more civil to the police. I mean, that's why we can't get nobody right now to be a police officer because they don't want to put up with the Bravo Sierra. Okay, they just don't want to put up with it. They're just tired of it. It's a hard job to begin with. But then the guy, I like this one. Well, I'm your boss. Yeah, well, why don't you pay me more? Because if you're my boss, then why don't you pay me more money? Okay. So I mean, they know that they're public servants. At least most of them do anyway. They know they're public servants, but they're not. But they don't have doormat written on top of their head, where you can just walk all over them because they work for the city. Okay, I'm just saying you might want to think about that. You work for me statement before somebody reach in the car and slap you. But okay, move right along. Now here's something that's going to get the eyes of everybody. Now I don't have a problem with this. Senator Arthur Orr, who is from Decatur, wherever that is, that's somewhere in Alabama, is preparing legislation for the 2026 legislative session that would remove candy and soda from the list of items that can be purchased using SNAP benefits. In other words, food stamps, the benefit card. And most SNAP recipients are on Medicaid, or TOD, WHNT. Is that now the taxpayers are paying for your health care relating to what you're eating. And the taxpayers are paying for the candy that you're putting in your mouth. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Listen, if you really need food stamps, if you really need them, and there are people that do need them, if you really need them, then buy food. Don't buy junk. Okay. And again, and if our city council had any gonads, okay, they would do what I suggested do for a couple of years. Let's put in a sugar tax. We got enough tax on gas. Gas is not a privilege. I mean, it's not a privilege anymore. It is a necessity to get back and forth to work. Okay, so we need gas. We got enough on that. But what we don't need is beer, wine, potato chips, soda pop. Lord knows I don't need any more of those things. So those are the things we do not need. So put a sugar tax of 2 cents on everything. Okay, on everything and we can bring a lot of money in. Okay. Now I wouldn't drink as many sodas at that point as I do now, which I ain't supposed to have them anyway. I got to take that glipizide stuff, I take that stuff but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Because if you got food stamps, you don't need to be buying junk food. Okay, you need to be buying some food. You need to be buying some hamburger meat and some rice. That way you can, take a couple. Because with 1 pound of hamburger meat, you can feed somebody for 3 or 4 days. Okay, you don't have much meat in there, but you got to put a little gravy into it and put it on top of the potatoes or put it on top of the rice, and you can cook some food right there. I'm just saying. But so anybody against that? Is there anybody out there that is against the sugar tax? No, because you don't have to have sweets. You don't have to have potato chips. You don't need a soda. You don't. Now the market, but I'm not going to stop buying a drink. And now if they go outrageous with the tax on it, but I don't see anything wrong putting a quarter on a soda. Okay. I mean, if you go to the baseball parks or to the football places like that, see what they charge for a beer, see what they charge for a soda. I think I may be right or wrong. I think at the baseball diamonds, they're charging $5 and $6, $7, $8 for a drink. Why deprive parents of getting their children sodas and candy? Come on, man. Kids ought to have candy and soda. Again, it's not about what you want. It's about what you need. If you're on food stamps, you don't need candy and soda. Oh, they're nice to have because I had them too. I love them. I still love them today. I mean, now the one thing I will not give up, I love Milky Way. I got to have them and Three Musketeers. I'm not going to stop buying it because they put extra quarter on. I'll just pay the extra quarter. And that's what I'm telling you. Most people will, but you don't need to be. I'm with Senator Orr here. You don't need to buy, okay? You don't need to use government funding to buy your habit, okay? Like you ought not be able to buy cigarettes with it. So why don't we and let's go up on tobacco products again. And maybe somebody will quit. Okay, I'm just saying we gotta raise the money some kind of way. We gotta raise the money some kind of way. So why don't we raise them that way? And it doesn't hurt anybody because the worst thing can happen. You can't buy no more sodas and candy, but you will because I will. I'm not gonna stop buying my Milky Way. Now I'm going to give up some of them sodas though because I'm not paying too much money for them. And Lord have mercy, beer. Do you know how much money we could rake up with during football season if we had a beer at extra beer? Because we don't care what anything costs as long as Alabama's beating somebody. Okay, as long as Alabama's beating somebody, we'll set that. Now watch out if Alabama's losing. Okay, but as long as Alabama's beating somebody and Auburn's beating somebody, we will pay whatever it takes to have a good time. I'm just telling you. So we need a sugar tax in the city of Montgomery, and no more tax on gas. I got enough tax on gas as it is. Matter of fact, I was so surprised that gas stations don't really make a lot of money off gas. Now the government does. Okay. As a matter of fact, somebody can tell me how much of the gas price, how much is that gas price taxes? I think. No, let me ask Siri. I'll see what Siri says. Hey Siri, what percentage of the gas price in most gas stations is taxes? She's gonna give me an answer in a second. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay. She's thinking it up here. Okay. Oh, okay. In California, taxes and fees constitute a significant portion of the gasoline tax as of July 1, 2025. The state excise tax is 61.2 cents per gallon. Wow. And the federal excise tax is 18 cents per gallon. So let's just round that off. 62 and 20. So almost, my Lord, almost 80% of each dollar on gas is taxes. So the people who sell the gas are not making all the money that you think they are. They're really not. They're not. So okay then. They don't need steak and shrimp. So next is bologna spreads. Listen, I don't eat steak and shrimp. As a matter of fact, shrimp looks like a roach anyway. So I don't know why. And lobster, they all look like roaches. Again, if you have to ask the price, you can't afford them. But why should the government? Well, let me put it this way: why should you eat better than me, and I'm paying as a taxpayer for your groceries? Now think about that for a second. Why should you eat better than I? And the taxpayer are buying your groceries. That doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't do that. I mean, come on, man. We understand that people have hard times, and that's good. And if you are having a hard time, then don't you think it would be more prudent that you buy things that you can stretch? You don't need steak, po man steak, which is bologna. And if you're gonna get po man steak, then buy the big old thing and you cut the slices yourself. That way you can stretch it a little longer. And maybe every once in a while, treat yourself to a couple of eggs. But other than that, you don't need all that good stuff. I'm just saying, we're not. No, again, it's all about. See, not I mean, I like Spam actually. I like Spam. I think Spam is good. Let's see, they don't need steak and shrimp. So next, it's bologna, Spam, sardines only. Come on, man. Listen again. Can it fill you up? Can it fill you up? It can. It can fill you up. You can get full on sardines or bologna. I got up. We came in, and there's nothing better. And now think about this. There's nothing better than a fried egg on fried bologna for breakfast. Now, is there anybody out there tell me that that's not good eating? I'm gonna have to call you something here, okay? That is good eating, and you kill the yellow part right there. No, you kill the yellow part. You make it hard, and you put it between two slices of bread and some bologna. And bologna is the only thing you can almost burn, and it still tastes good. Okay, I'm just telling you. So yeah, you don't need to buy all that expensive stuff. I mean, it takes me, one day. And let me tell you something else about food stamps too. Let me tell you something else about food stamps. When the government can decide if you eat or not, that's too much power. Okay, that really is too much power. But I understand that people. So one day I'm sitting in Walmart. Oh, I imagine there was a couple hundred people in there when I was in there, and all of a sudden, it rang over the intercom. Our food stamp machines are not working. I saw at least 300 carts in there setting in the aisleways because people had no way to pay for them if the food stamp machine wasn't working. That's too much power to give the government to determine whether or not you get a chance to eat. Okay, you're talking about surrendering your power to the government. When I saw everybody walking out of that store and all of those machines were left there, I mean, all those baskets were left there. Yeah. That gives the government too much. When you give people that kind of power over your life, man, you are you really surrendering something just to get a food stamp. I don't know. I mean, all them people walked out of there and left all their groceries in the baskets. Somebody had a long night that night because they had to put all that stuff back on the shelf. But anyway, so much for that. Too much power. No retail weeds, huh? Well, why not? They're smoking it anyway. They're smoking it. Nobody who wants to smoke marijuana is not smoking it. Okay. So why don't we let them smoke it? Make it recreational, and only a certain amount. Now, if you got a dump truck full of it, then we can't say that's recreational. Okay. Who that is? Let me see. Yes, sir. Who's this? Well, don't tell me who it is. Just what's on your mind?
Good morning, Sergeant Elkins.
Good morning.
I just, have a problem with people wanting to just get so far into people's personal life and regulating to the point that they're telling you. I get it. No beer, wine, tobacco. But, I grew up on food stamps. My mom got food stamps.
Me too.
And the food stamps we had the food stamp book.
Me too.
Like Monopoly money.
Me too. Yeah, I did.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we had the big can of peanut butter that stuck to the roof of your mouth. The big block cheese that made great macaroni and cheese.
It did.
We had powdered eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin, as a young boy, to be able to get food like you're saying people can buy now, and we want to limit and restrict what people can do. Kids ought to be able to have candy and soda.
Again, though, is it necessary?
It doesn't do it with necessary. Pride and dignity. That's almost, we're going to get to the point that says that, you know what, if you're on SNAP, which stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to tell those kids in school, you can't get the regular lunch like everybody else because you ought to just be glad to get oatmeal.
Well, now,
why separate people?
Because looking at the school lunches, though, I don't think they're not get that whole lot of much diversity in what they feed these kids anyway. But okay,
so
but if I'm
what you're saying is you shouldn't be able to tell a difference if a kid family is on food stamps,
right?
Or if a kid is, you shouldn't be able to tell a difference. Is what you're saying,
right?
So you shouldn't be able to tell a difference if my mom was in Walmart in the buggy line and your mom was in Walmart in the buggy line. That's what I'm saying.
Well, when you and I was coming
to
up,
the point that if your mom got candy and sodas in there, I know you're not on substance because you can't buy it. So look what we got. We got candy and soda.
Now you make a good point there, but again, let me ask you something. When you surrender your freedom to the government,
you're not surrendering, you're in a need. And then that's the thing. We tell people that are getting substance they're surrendering. We don't tell farmers that they're surrendering when we tell them they don't grow and we give them subsidies. We don't tell other people they're surrendering. Elon Musk, he's not surrendering when he's getting substance. We only use that term when it comes to people that are getting nutritional. Do you say Musk is surrendering all the subsidies and billion-dollar contracts he's getting?
But he does provide jobs and opportunities for people that pay taxes, even though he gets subsidies. I mean,
so farmers are too that are growing peanuts and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, they providing jobs and all kinds
of things. That's what
you
think. That's what you think. And I would tell you that my mom that worked 2 jobs to put her boys that have cliques and be able to play Little League.
Yeah.
She was providing for us, but she was on subsidy. She was just on a working at a poverty level. You know that they are the working poor, right?
Right. I'm one of them.
So you are the working poor?
Yeah.
so my mom couldn't have dignity because she was a domestic worker. So you're saying because
what did we do? Well, what did we do before the government came out with? And I had the book too, and I was actually embarrassed when I had to pull that book out in the store and give it somebody. I mean, they knew it was food stamps.
The dignity, right?
Yeah, it did bother me. But then again, it bothered me more to be hungry. I'm not saying they shouldn't get them. If you need them, that's fine. But you shouldn't have all the privileges if I'm paying for your dinner.
Come on, Kevin. The kids, man, let them have sodas and candy. That's all I'm saying. I get it. No tobacco.
Yeah.
No beer. No wine.
Yeah.
But we get to the point where we're starting to, and Jesus says, how did you treat the least of these? That's where we're getting to the point as a country is we're saying because of your condition. And the truth is, it's more other people on nutritional assistance than African Americans.
Yeah, but I didn't mention African Americans. I just said.
But that's what people think is that these people are taking advantage of a system, and mostly that's the face that America sees.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's because
Would
we
you
go.
agree?
Wait. That's because we go on Facebook and say, "I got my EBT card."
Yeah. My only point, Kevin,
Yeah.
is that people are already struggling, man.
Yeah.
Don't make it tougher. Kids ought to be able to have. Now, if you want to say they can't get the top Winn-Dixie, you got to get the Walmart brand, Winn-Dixie brand. They can't get Coke, Sprite, or the Major. So, they got to stretch that money anyway. So they already getting great value.
Yeah.
They're not getting the regular stuff. But I'm an advocate for treating people with dignity.
Okay, but don't we treat you with dignity because we're actually allowing the taxpayers to buy your food for you?
And that's the other thing. My mama worked. She paid taxes.
Yeah.
She's a taxpayer.
Right.
But we still was making so little that you need assistance.
Mm.
So you're acting like the people are not contributing to their own. There are a lot. Military people, Kevin, get EBT.
Well,
overseas with 3 kids.
and you know something? That's why when I first went in, you couldn't be married in the military and be under E4 because you don't.
But young people are going to be young people. They're going to fall.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, there's service people that are getting EBT.
Well,
and you tell their kids when they go to the commissary, y'all can't get no soda and no. We're gonna have to buy that with my regular paycheck. No, I got to pay rent. I got to pay. Think about it, Kevin.
Well, it's tough, but how do we make it? I mean, we didn't have all that stuff either.
The grace of God. Thanks for taking the call, my friend.
That's true. Okay, all right then. And again, people will tend to disagree, but where are the limits? Okay. Yeah, as a matter of fact, someone said you can still get candy and Coke, so you just got to pay cash for it. But anyway, again, then where are the limits though? In our effort, in our trying to be all good for all people and do all great things, somebody's got to pay for it. Somebody pays for that person. And now don't get me wrong. I'm getting to the age right now. I may have to go down there and get me one of them cards. As a matter of fact, every day here on the internet and on TV, everybody telling you every day how if you're a certain age now, you can go down, and they be lying to you. You go down and get your card for your groceries, for the cabs, for everything. I mean, we giving so much stuff away, but are we giving the right thing away? Are we giving the right thing away? Again, I just think that there ought to be limits on what you purchase, because when I see poor folks in the store trying to sell me the use of their EBT card for cash. I've never done it because I just felt guilty about that. I said, I don't, that's for to buy your kids food. Now I will admit to you, if you got to pay the rent, so man said I'm using cash for gas, insurance, and Alabama Power. I'm with you because they don't take food stamps. I'm with you. Well, again, that's why the people smarter than I am get to make these decisions about what we do with the money that with the assistance that we give people. I do believe, however, we ought to put an additional tax on it on junk food. To raise money for the city of Montgomery. Stop going up on the gas. Right now, it looks like between 70 and 80% of that dollar goes in taxes, so people can collect off of us, and we only get them. So we got to pay a whole lot of money for a gallon of gas when only 12 to 15 cents of the dollar goes to the guy who's selling you the gas. 15 cents. So. I don't know. I think a sugar tax is pretty good. I mean, now you can't tell me, Top, that stopping people from buying Kool-Aid and candy bars is a bad thing. It just too many sodas, and I ended up getting I know that's one of the reasons why I got that diabetes stuff, because I was drinking them like they was going out of style. Me and Dr. Pepper had a personal relationship. Every day, remember when the Hardys used to make chicken? Every day I had a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper and a breast of chicken. And I was so hooked on that Dr. Pepper. One day they broke into the house. Okay, people broke into the house. Now, so I just got reminded that Z has never drank a soda. And he don't. Um, and okay, I know you didn't feed him soda. I got that pig. I got that part. But I don't. He drinks and he loves water. Yeah, I didn't come up on that. Hey, listen, I'll bring that on the Army. I got hooked on them sodas because sometimes we would go places, we couldn't get water, but somehow we got sodas. So I just got hooked on Coca-Cola. That's just the way it was. But my son, he didn't drink soda at all. At least he didn't when he left. Now he may. We'll wait till he gets back from base training AIT and see whether or not he had a soda yet. So we don't know. Now if he comes back with a beer in his hand, I know something. But that's his call. Yeah, but I hear you. I hear you. All right. Listen, I gotta take a pause. And I'm almost late. I've been on sitting here almost 2 hours. But anyway, those are just some of my observations today. Okay, I don't have a problem with people talking about you shouldn't be able to buy candy and all that stuff with food stamps. But now Willie listen, he made a point, and he always makes some good points. I'm going to say he always makes some good points. And I just don't, I don't know. I don't make those decisions. I merely give an observation on what history, because I was on food stamps when we came up. My mama got the book. You didn't get a nice little card. You had to go in there with this card, looked like dollar bills. They weren't dollar. They were from the Department of Agriculture, and they were food stamps. That's what they were. And so and you couldn't buy everything with it. You can only buy certain things with it. And so I don't have a problem with that. Let's see. Your share says, what do they say? I'm using cash for gas. Tax the maker and make them unprocess the chemicals in the food. Don't let junk food come to market. Well, then we'd have to get rid of beer. We'd have to get rid of all candy. Got to get rid of potato chips. We'd have to get rid of all the things, our comfort foods. We'd have to get rid of all of it, And liquor, during COVID, anybody remember this? During COVID, we closed businesses down, but guess the one business we let stay open and didn't even think about it, and that was the liquor stores. And I kept asking myself, so why should liquor stores be left open when you make everybody else close? Is it that important to get drink alcohol? I just, man, really? So I don't. They ain't gonna do that one. Okay, they're not gonna text the manufacturer for a Budweiser and all that and Coke. That ain't gonna happen. After all, they put a lot of people to work, and there ain't nothing inherently wrong with Coke. But you can abuse anything like I have done over the years. So you can't blame the company. And it's kind of like a car. People get killed in car accidents. Do we blame the manufacturer because you didn't drive the car the correct way? No. Well, I can't blame the manufacturer if you drink too many beers and get drunk. I just, we have got to show some discipline in our own lives that we can stop doing these things. Okay, so I'm just saying. Something else came up yesterday in the news. You remember in 2020, 2021, whatever that was, everybody was getting all these PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. A lot of people said that they had a business, right? They came up with all these fake whatever they call that thing that show that you work someplace. These business owners, they got all kinds of money. They're beginning to go to jail now. Okay. Somebody asked me, hey, when I was going on, hey, you want to get one of these PPP loans? I said, no, because I don't want to be in the JAIL. so I didn't go that way. No, because sooner or later they'll catch you. They'll know you didn't have 18 employees. They know that you don't have 18 employees and all that stuff. They know. They know you're lying. They can look at your thing. You got no history of working before. You got no history of having employees. And all of a sudden, when the PP money comes out, you got 13 employees and you're driving a Rolls Royce. Well, I couldn't understand. People got that money. Some pretty famous athletes got that stuff too. And then you go out, you don't buy business, you go out and buy a Rolls Royce. Okay. Seriously? Really? Okay, I'm just saying. So if you get a knock on the door one day and it says, that PP money you got, well, we finna come take it back. Okay, I'm just saying you might want to save up a little bit of money so you can do that. Okay, and there's one right here in Montgomery, in Alabama. The Immigration and Customs Enforcement, otherwise known as ICE, raided multiple Mexican restaurants across Alabama on Tuesday while searching for Cesar Campos Reyes, who was wanted for alleged fraudulent use of a paycheck protection program through the federal government. And you know what? There's no statute of limitations on that stuff either. Okay, if you take federal money. Kevin Davidson, acting U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Alabama, said that at a press conference in Auburn on Tuesday afternoon that 14 locations were searched in Lee, Macon, Elmore, Autauga County, and Baldwin counties. I guess they know not to come to Montgomery County, I guess. Reyes, who was wanted for 4 counts of bank fraud, 4 counts of wire fraud, and money laundering. So I'm just saying. Now that's the kind of raid right there. Okay, I can go along with that one. But I can't go along with the one where we raid people because all they're doing is working. I ain't talking in the fields or doing the jobs that we won't do. We will not do because Americans think that they are too good for that kind of job. Okay, so I'm just thinking we might want to slow our roll a little bit. Okay, also. A University of Alabama law professor argues that ICE assailants' legal right for self-defense. Now, this is interesting. Over the weekend, University of Alabama School of Law professor Joyce Vance, had to be a woman, suggested that ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement agents wearing masks could face lawful violence during raids as a result of people mistaking the raid as a kidnapping. Vance, an MSNBC contributor, was asked on Saturday Velshi show as a prosecutor about ICE agents wearing masks during the raid. She described the notion that wearing a mask for law enforcement protection is utterly ridiculous. Now, that is true, too, because they do have guns all on their side. The mask thing kind of, it kind of does make you look like a thug. It kind of makes you look like a thug there. I will agree with that. There are serious legal restrictions around the use of, for instance, FBI agents as undercover operatives. Vance declared that very strict rules regarding how it's done, what they can do, what they can't do. But that I've never seen a federal agent working a case do is pull a mask up so everybody knows who they are and go out and terrorize civilian population. Yeah, I'm not too crazy about the mask. I think it gives you like this thug mentality. I think it does. It gives you that thug mentality. You get to wear and I don't like civilian policemen wearing military gear. I just think you don't put that stuff on unless you're finna go to battle. And if you leave the office with the mindset, I'm going to do battle, then that's what you're going to carry out in the streets with you. And if you wear all these big, I understand they need protection. I got that part. Put it on when you need it, I guess. But it's just difficult for me to think that when you put on all this gear and the flak vest and you got 3-4 what do you call those things you put in the rifle to shoot bullets out of? What's that thing called? Well, you know what it's called. What do they call that thing? Though anyway, you they got the pockets in the vest where you can put what are those things called? The thing you pop in the bottom of the gun that got the bullets in it. What is that called? Somebody tell me what that's called. Because I forgot what it's called. I haven't carried one in a long time. So anyway. It just seemed like to me that that's what I think it's called a clip. Yeah. I think I'm just not too crazy about that kind of thing. So I'm not totally agreeing with the professor about ICE, but I do think coming into people's business with masks on, you could think that somebody's in there to rob you. So. But they do have vests on that says either ICE or police or somebody like that. But anybody can buy one of those. We'll see how this goes. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Now, one more thing before we call this a day. You know, the other day, the Montgomery City Council got together and made a curfew that wasn't a curfew. They called it a curfew, but it really wasn't a curfew. The police said that they can't keep them. Even if they picked them up, they can't put them in jail. They can't take them to DYS. But here's what we noticed. Now, the curfew was only for downtown. Okay, you couldn't be downtown if you're 16 and below. I think a 17-year-old don't need to be down there either. But if you're 16, you don't need to be that. So here's what somebody proposed. We are willing to protect a certain population's investment, which is good. I got no problem with that. But are they willing to protect poor folks' investment? Okay, because downtown, a lot of people put a lot of money in that stuff down there, and they do, to have a business downtown, and they should not have it messed up or threatened because they happen to be downtown. I agree with you, but we need that same kind of concern for everybody's business. That's why we need a citywide curfew, not just a curfew for downtown. That's not really a curfew at all. We need a citywide curfew, and you're right. That won't stop a crook from wanting to do things, but it will stop somebody. It will stop somebody, and that one somebody may be your child, maybe your cousin, your brother, your uncle, whoever. It may be them, and they don't end up dead on the street because somebody shot them. Okay, but it does seem in this city that we want to protect certain areas, but not necessarily all areas. And with this so-called curfew thing, which is really not a curfew, okay? It really ain't a curfew. They can't do nothing with the kids. The police would tell you we can't do nothing with them. And that's another thing. Is that a political move or is that a legal move? It seems like to me if somebody is violating the law, in my opinion, somebody violating the law, then you ought to be able to do something with them. So don't tell me you can't do anything with them, because if you catch me speeding, you can do something with me. You give me a ticket, you can, stuff like that. So don't give me that one. But again, we seem to be more concerned about, and as well we should be, but we shouldn't give one part of the population better protection than we do give mom and pop store on Norman Bridge Road, okay, on Western Boulevard. So we need a citywide curfew, not just one downtown. Okay. I realize they got some great investment down there. We got tourists coming to town. We got that. Then let's clean it up for everybody. Okay. Let's clean it for everybody. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm just making that case be known. Okay. Okay. Cause we know these people who put their businesses downtown, pay lots of money, collect lots of taxes, and we understand that. But my investment in my business is just as important as their investment is to their. I'm not my business. I don't have a store or anything. But when I had my stores, I want them to be protected too. I want the same kind of consideration for them, from me, people like me with no money but trying to make it, as we get the businesses downtown, the Zaza, the Sajas, and all those people down there, the banks. So if we're going to do a curfew, then let us do a curfew for the whole city, not just downtown. Because my business is just as important. My house is just as important as everybody else's. Okay, I'm just saying we might want to think about that, because all you got to do now is put a divide between the regular folks who trying to make it and the folks downtown. Okay, we have enough division. So what we need to do is just have a citywide curfew. And if our city council can't come up with a plan, okay, then I think we need a new city council. Okay, we just do. If they can't pass this, something that will protect us and protects them, the young folks, then we just need a new city council. I mean, I love them all, but if they can't get it done, they can't get it done. And we've been asking for it for years. Okay, don't just protect people. Don't have a curfew for people downtown that has no authority whatsoever to do anything. Okay, we don't need that. What we need is a citywide curfew. Anybody under the age of 17, anybody 17 and under, they need to be at home unless they've already finished high school. Because I'm thinking if you finish high school already, then you got a pretty good brain on you, and so I don't think you're going to be out there. You just need to have some ID on you, okay, and show that there needs to be a little thing on the driver's license and say, hey, yeah, finish high school, and that way we good. But I'm gonna have to run for office. It's just gonna have to be because I got so many great ideas, and I'm not worried about political correctness. I'm not worried about getting reelected the next time. I'm getting old now. I don't care about trying to get reelected. I won't run for office so I can keep getting reelected. I'll run for office, hopefully, to make a difference in people's lives. And that's what this is all about. Okay, time's up. Gotta go. Been a great day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be back Monday. I won't be here tomorrow, but we'll do this show back over tomorrow. Have a great day. We'll see you.